this episode of Harmonized Sound, we have Ian Zumback in studio with us here at Old Bear. And he hails all the way from the great state of Tennessee and lives in Nashville. And it's featuring him and another artist named Jessica Crawford. And they both are singing together on this track. Ian has an ability to really say powerful things with his words, and in this song, super excited about how it came out. And it's called Murderer Messenger.
Murderer messenger.
This ain't a fairy tale, stuck inside delusions.
When we started writing the song, we felt like we had tapped into something that was like really exciting. We felt like, wow, we started writing it and we tried to like hold to some of the patterns initially of some of the patterns that you might normally see in some contemporary worship music. And then we just started introducing words and things that aren't otherwise usually shared, and we were like, you know what, let's just abandon all preconceptions about this and let's just really just say what we feel that God wants us to say.
This is a really cool song to me because it really deals with the subject of feeling unworthy. And I think that's something that is so common. Everybody understands that feeling. Everybody has felt it, and from a biblical standpoint, there's no one better than Paul to kind of depict what that looks like, because Paul was someone who was persecuting Christians, and then Jesus took him from being the worst of sinners to preaching the gospel to the Gentiles and bringing people into the knowledge of who Jesus is.
We started it in Nashville, and then we completed it when we were in Atlanta playing an event there. And when we were writing this song, I gave her some ideas for the second verse, and I just remember like playing and like trying to think through some things and think through some ideas and vocalize those, and it just didn't seem like she was even paying attention. So I said, "Hey, are you what do you think about that? Or are you thinking?" She was like, no, just keep going, just keep going. And so I just kind of kept talking, and she said, "Okay, here, I've got it. Here's what I came up with. Could you play that riff?" And so I did. And when she sang the verse that she had compiled based on what we were talking through, or the ideas that I was sharing, I got so excited about this second verse and what was communicated and how it rounded out the song that I literally almost smashed my guitar on the floor and got so excited, because it was like this joy, like we tapped this artesian well and we were like, yes, this is it. This is really what we feel God wants to say in these songs.
This is Bob Carpenter, the 70s vinyl, and this would be the rhythm for Ian's track, the scratch of it. So we can't pay Bob any royalties for this, but thank you from listening to your record so much, we were able to get the beat for it. I listen to everything listen to vinyl music constantly on a turntable, and I started realizing that, because with vinyl you have to turn the side over every 20 minutes, so when you're at home you end up like going a half an hour before you turn the side over. Well, when the needle hits the paper on the edge of the vinyl, depending on where the scratches are in the vinyl, it makes different sounds, makes different beats and scratching sounds. And it just hit me in that moment, like I've never heard anybody make a record using beats from like different scratches of different vinyl. Like you hear DJs that make samples of different songs, but actually the scratches at the end of the record, as the needle continues to hit the paper, it creates different beats. So the beat that you hear in this song was from this Bob Carpenter record from 1970 something. Emmylou Harris sang on this record. It's a great record and a record that needs more attention. But yeah, I listened to this record a lot, and I noticed that it created this amazing rhythm at the end of it, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be awesome to make a record out of different scratches on different vinyl? So that, and Ian was like, yeah, that would be amazing. So I started kind of documenting different vinyl and different scratches that different records made and how they could be used in different songs. So the beat of this song comes off of this record, and then the Dawes, which are like a current popular band. I bought this record on internet and it was used. So somebody had put a lot of life on it just listening to it a lot. So it had this very interesting kick sound at the end of it. There's like the scratchy kick sound. And so the kick drum that you hear in this is actually from this record. And then and then we had Brendan play drums, and he kind of like added trash can cymbals in it and stuff like that.
So I don't know what you want to use on it. I just set it here. I'm probably going to leave it here because I can
Try to use some different techniques as far as drums. We just used one overhead mic, a Rode mic, and we did some things with the kick drum where we had to use a blanket because we were actually playing a trash can and we didn't want the trash can to bleed into the mics too much.
That drop D note,
Yep.
and that goes into the instrumental, and you kind of keep it going
Okay.
here. Sounds awesome.
All right.
It's cool. Right here.
Meet me at my worst when I know what I know, that the truth is I deserve nothing but death for what I've done. But you made a
So anytime we're doing a new record, or somebody calls us to be a part of their project in that season of their lives, I always start innately asking myself what kind of instruments should be on this project and what kind of sounds should we try to create for this record. And as a producer, I try to not use the same exact instruments on different songs. Or different records rather. I try to, each record, find a unique set of tools to use. And we were able to find a fretless bass. It felt like it would fit with the beats and the textures that we were coming up with for this track. So we found a fretless bass for $120 and just started adding to it. And that's kind of the piece that we use throughout the record as well.
He's doing a slide off, he's not doing a pull off.
It's one of those songs that you kind of, when you start out recording it, you're just not sure exactly how it's going to go. You just kind of let the song dictate the journey, and I think in this particular case, the destination was well worth the journey. But it's always a little nerve-wracking to kind of jump off and see where it's going to take you, because you don't want to waste anybody's time. You don't want to be sitting around, a couple hours later just worried about like, well, now we're here and we got to make the best of it. But I think in this particular case, we really did let the song and the lyrics of the song dictate how we were going to sonically make the song sound.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Do that. I had thought about the kind of organ sounds that I wanted to get on the project, and I wanted to get kind of more of a minimalistic organ sound, something that was kind of primitive, that was kind of old school. And I had started to kind of research old organs from the 60s that they would use in garage band music and garage rock, and I happened upon this Gibson organ and discovered that the Doors used it on a bunch of their tracks, and it was an organ that they used on a lot of psychedelic rock records back in the day. Well, I went to try to buy one on eBay, and they were going for crazy money, and I was like, that's just not going to happen. But I kept thinking I'd really like to have this piece for Ian's record, and we were playing, Brothers McClure was playing an event, playing a show 4 or 5 hours from home, and a lady came up to us before we played and said, I have an organ of my father's in my basement that I want to, just trying to liquidate some of the stuff that he had. Would you be interested in it? And I said, sure, not knowing what kind of organ it was, and she showed me pictures of it. And it happened to be the same organ that I had tried to buy for Ian's record. And so we ended up picking one up for really, really a really cheap price, and we were able to bring it back and take it out of the basement and blow the dust off it and be able to utilize it again on a record. This whole record is kind of made up of specific instruments that we wanted to utilize for the project. We used my grandfather has an old Ovation 12-string guitar that he used to play, that we utilized on this track, which is, was great to kind of take it out of the case again from where it sat in his closet and be able to utilize it again. Sing that again.
Okay, so Lord, I know that the truth is I deserve nothing but death for what I've done.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, I like
A
that.
murderer, a messenger.
Yeah, just break up with us on the death.
Who am I that you would meet me at my worst? When I know, Lord, I know that the truth is I deserve nothing but death for what I've done. You made a murderer, a messenger.
Old Bear is like a walking into sparkly waterfall world for me. That's pretty funny imagery, but it feels like there's so much awe of like everything that's going on around, because there's such creativity here, It feels divine on a level that, when I first was a music fan, and was investing my time in developing my musicality as a songwriter or as a musician, I went and I referenced records that appealed to a side of me that was like of the artist that had this raw expression of opening up their souls and their hearts and having it be channeled through their music, and wasn't like this homogenized, nice and neat kind of expression. And sonically and sound-wise and arrangement-wise, all those things really lent themselves to what appealed to my taste. And so when I met Chris and met Anthony and we started writing together, and they brought me into the studio and they showed me around and they started playing some of the music that they had been recording here, I was so excited. It was the first time in a very long time that I felt an excitement about music having a unique expression through the artist that I had felt like I had lost for a long time.
But I know that the truth is I deserve nothing but death. Who am I that you
I've been breathing violence, and I've been speaking lies. I've been chasing demons that make my mother cry. I've been drinking poison, and I've been cursing God. Quick to place the blame on, and slow to admit my wrongs, but you made